The death toll from the coronavirus in mainland China passed 2,000 today, but the number of new cases fell for a second straight day. The latest figures bring the total number of cases in China to over 74,000. In Hong Kong, a second death has been reported. Officials said a patient was a 70-year-old man with underlying illnesses. He was taken to hospital on February 12th after a fall at home. He had a fever and tested positive for the virus, and he died a week later. So let's find out more about the situation in Hong Kong with Hong Kong correspondent Claire Huang. Now, Claire, give us an idea of what's happening on the ground. Has the report of a second death heightened fears and possibly triggered more measures to curb the spread?
Hi, Olivia. So everyone's on alert here. There's no visible panic. I was out earlier, so things are business as usual. Now, families with helpers are afraid of sending their employees out, and then you've got people who are working from home, civil servants working from home. So if the job allows, obviously. So there are lesser people in the streets, in the trains, restaurants, etc. To be fair, the two deaths that we have had in Hong Kong, both patients had underlying conditions. Okay, so over the Carrie Lam administration was blasted for being slow, but the city has issued a mandatory 2-week quarantine for anyone arriving from mainland China, and this was issued 2 weeks ago. And from today, the hospital authority will expand its surveillance to cover patients in general outpatient clinics, as well as accident and emergency departments, A&E departments. So those people who are aged 18 or above, and they have symptoms like fever, respiratory symptoms, mild chest infection, they will be given a specimen bottle for collection of deep throat saliva, which then they will send back. And then, this is the idea that they want to test people who, might have gotten it earlier. Yeah.
Right. Well, Claire, there are also media reports of expats leaving Hong Kong because of the coronavirus and the ongoing protests. How bad is that situation?
Well, experts were already considering their options, Olivia, during the prolonged demonstrations last year. And the coronavirus outbreak has certainly tipped the scales for some of them. I think we are in a period of transition. So typically in the first quarter, around this time, you have a lot of houses, leases that are up for rent and things like that. We know that a lot of the families, the experts have gone back. Some have chosen not to come back here. But I do see people coming back here as well, and then there are, of course, those families taking a break overseas to avoid the virus situation, right? Because there's also no school. So there are people who continue to stay on. What I would say is this: you can expect more of them to avoid Hong Kong in the months ahead. And the months ahead is what we are looking at, because Hong Kong is projected to have its first back-to-back annual recessions on record. Now, the economy is already weakened by the unrest, and the outbreak has just worsened the situation. So it's not all doom and gloom, though, because when this passes, and it will pass, right? It's just a matter of how long it takes. Things will probably start to slowly recover.
Well, what's the latest on the pro-democracy protests then? Has it taken a back seat, so to speak, in light of the coronavirus outbreak?
Oh, definitely. The virus has provided a respite from early intense demonstrations. So, things have cooled down for the time being. The anti-government protests that started last year, has subsided. They're now smaller scale, more peaceful, things like lunchtime assemblies, and so on. But there's a new problem. All right, we're seeing virus-related issues that are sparking off new demonstrations. For instance, on Sunday, hundreds of demonstrators rallied for a second day to protest against plans to turn some of the buildings into quarantine centers. This is not in my backyard syndrome, right? And then today, you've got pro-establishment group rallying outside the government's headquarters to urge the opposition to pass the multi-billion-dollar relief package that was unveiled by Carrie Lam. So this is a very divided city. You still got smaller scale protests. Everybody wants their views implemented. So I will be surprised, though, if no one says a word.
Well, thank you so much, Claire. That was Claire Huang, Hong Kong correspondent for the Straits Times. The city has reported its second death from COVID-19.